All right, so it is time for our rather famous must pick up, must drop, and we are going to go to Tucker first.
Yeah, so my ad for the week will be the Cleveland Browns defense. They played really well recently. They had 30 fantasy points a couple weeks ago. They had 16 this week. They're going up against New Orleans Saints defense that's 30th or Saints offense that's 30th in turnovers. They have 22 this season. So I think that's a situation where an opportunistic defense can take advantage of Andy Dalton and company. And then I would look at dropping Tyler Huntley. I know he's a run first quarterback. I know he's still in that system in Baltimore, but he's put up 6 points in each of the last 2 weeks. I think the magic we saw last year has run out a little bit. And if that offense has any success, I think it'll be on the back of J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, not necessarily Tyler Huntley.
Curtis?
Yeah, and just to add to that, looks like Devin Duvernay has just experienced some sort of injury at practice, and it doesn't look good. So a team without any weapons at wide receiver loses another body. So
they just picked up the corpse
of putting on the field.
I think they picked up the corpse of Sammy Watkins.
Oh yeah, there's history there. That would be funny if they did.
I think I just read on Twitter that they did.
Oh, maybe that makes sense.
We always have some breaking news on this show, it seems.
Nice. I'm going with Marquise Goodwin this week. I like the matchup against the Chiefs, and Geno Smith has been distributing the ball pretty good to the wide receivers. So I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to drop Michael Gallup. He's looked awful this year. The reason the Cowboys are looking at picking up T.Y. Hilton and OBJ isn't because they need a number 3 receiver. They need a number 2 and 3 receiver. He just hasn't got it done. Can't separate. He's having trouble, and that's to be expected. He came off a major injury, and putting the eggs in that basket and getting rid of Cooper was management's folly. So wasn't a good play, and we can pretty much say that's the end of Gallup this year.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's a big takeaway of mine for next year. We went through a couple years, and I used to have Dr. Jeff on from RotoViz, and he would say that the new ACLs, it's not like the old one. Feel free to draft these guys unless you hear any bad news. But we've seen a number of guys come back from ACLs and just really underperform. That is something that I plan on mixing more into my thought process next year.
Gallup was weird because they waited so long for the surgery post-injury, and there had to have been other stuff going on. So I think things like that are good cues to look for.
The Cowboys are the best dysfunctional team in the league.
Yep.
And I'm going to go from that to my picks. I'm going to pick up the Gardner Minshew. Even if you don't think you need a quarterback this week, we just talked to Curtis about, Hurts. Minshew is a guy who, even if he doesn't do it this week, he might do it next week. And if you don't pick him up in week 16, you might be facing him in week 17. I'm picking up Gardner Minshew where available. And I'm dropping Damian Harris. He's coming off an injury. He was supposed to be back last week. We've seen Pierre Strong come in and do a pretty good job. And Ramondre is going to be the guy. So I am not going to wait around on Damian Harris and hope that he gets things done. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you for listening to the Waiver and Injury Show. Don't forget to watch our other 3 shows, the Sharp Betting Show with Ryan McChrystal, Sharp Angles with Dan Pizzuta and Rich Rebar, and Sharp Angles Fantasy with Rich Rebar and fantasy experts. Subscribe to Warren Sharp on YouTube for fantasy football insight, matchup previews, in-depth stats and analysis, and feel free to leave a comment. And of course, hit the like button. We would really appreciate it. That's going to do it. We'll see you all next week.